In the cold, sterile control room of the Xylothán invasion fleet, Commander Threx stood before the expansive view screen, his 6 eyes fixed on the blue-green marble of Earth. The Xylotons were a proud, technologically advanced race of conquerors who had spread across the galaxy, assimilating lesser species into their empire. To them, Earth was just another target, a relatively primitive planet filled with bipedal mammals who were unaware of their impending doom. The plan was simple. The Xylothans had carefully observed Earth from the edges of the solar system for months. They had analyzed human technology and determined it was no match for their superior energy weapons and fleet of warships. They had even sent reconnaissance drones to infiltrate human communications and culture. While the humans were more advanced than many of the other species they had encountered, they were still a young race, barely scratching the surface of interstellar travel. "Prepare the fleet for descent," Threx ordered, his voice calm but resolute. "We will begin the invasion at dawn, when their most populous cities are at their weakest. The humans will surrender swiftly." Around him, the Xelothan officers and crew moved with precision, following his command. A holographic display of Earth's major cities flickered to life, showing the planned invasion routes and strategic targets. Threx felt no anxiety, no fear. This was routine, a conquest like any other. Another planet would fall, and the Xelothan Empire would grow stronger. But something was gnawing at him, a whisper of doubt that had been plaguing him since the beginning of the mission. It wasn't the technology or the military prowess of the humans that troubled him. It was something else, a sense that they were overlooking something vital. "Commander," a voice interrupted his thoughts. It was First Officer Koresh, a lean Xelothan with sharp, angular features. "We've intercepted a new transmission from the planet's surface. One of our drones has captured a live visual feed from their rural northern regions. It's strange." Threx raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Strange how?" "See for yourself," Koresh said, gesturing to the screen. The view screen flickered, and soon an image of a dense forest came into view. The feed was shaky, as if taken from a hovering drone, and the resolution wasn't perfect, but the scene was clear enough. There, in the middle of a snowy clearing, stood a human, a large male, dressed in simple outdoor clothing, his breath visible in the cold air. He held a crude metal tool in his hand, what the Xelothans recognized as a hatchet. The human didn't seem to be aware of the drone's presence as he chopped wood near what appeared to be a cabin, his motions swift and deliberate. But then, something emerged from the tree line. A massive, hulking creature on 4 legs, brown, covered in fur, with enormous claws and jaws that could tear flesh from bone. "Pause the feed," Threx ordered, his eyes narrowing, as he studied the creature. "What is that?" Koresh tapped a few buttons, bringing up a data file. "It is called a bear, Commander, a native apex predator on Earth. From what we've gathered, it is highly dangerous. Few creatures on this planet dare to challenge it." Threx studied the bear on the screen. It was an impressive specimen, even by galactic standards. Muscular, fast, and armed with natural weapons that rivaled anything the Xylothans had seen in the wilds of other worlds. But it was still just an animal. What intrigued him more was the human. "Resume the feed," Threx commanded. As the footage resumed, the bear let out a low, rumbling growl and began lumbering toward the human. At first, the man didn't seem to notice, but when the growl grew louder, he turned. For a moment, the human and the bear locked eyes, and then the beast charged. Threx expected the human to flee, to run for his life. It was, after all, the rational thing to do when faced with a creature that outweighed you by hundreds of pounds. But the human didn't run. Instead, the man took a step forward, gripping the hatchet tightly in his hand. His face twisted into a grimace of determination, and he stood his ground as the bear closed the distance between them. Threx's 6 eyes widened in disbelief. The bear was upon the man in seconds, swiping at him with its massive claws. The human ducked, narrowly avoiding the blow, and swung the hatchet in a wide arc. The blade connected with the bear's shoulder, cutting deep into its flesh. The creature roared in pain and fury, rearing up on its hind legs, towering over the man. But the human didn't flinch. He attacked again, slashing at the bear's exposed belly, leaving a gash that sent blood spraying across the snow. The bear roared again, louder this time, and brought its claws down with savage force. The blow connected, sending the man stumbling backward, blood dripping from his side where the claws had torn through his jacket. Threx leaned forward, captivated. Surely the human would retreat now. No creature could survive an attack like that. But the man didn't retreat. With a feral yell, the human charged the bear, slamming the hatchet into its skull with a sickening thud. The bear staggered, dazed by the blow, but it wasn't finished. It swung its massive paw again, knocking the human to the ground. Threx held his breath, certain that the battle was over. Yet impossibly, the human pushed himself up from the blood-soaked snow. His face was pale, his breath ragged, but he was alive. And then, with one final, desperate swing, he buried the hatchet deep into the bear's head. The bear collapsed with a thunderous crash, its body twitching once before going still. The human stood over it, breathing heavily, blood streaming from his wounds, but victorious. The feed cut out abruptly, leaving the control room in stunned silence. "Do you like ice cream?" Jason asked after a while. Ziri blinked at him, their glossy eyes filled with curiosity. "I've heard about it, but I've never tried it." Jason grinned. "You're in for a treat, then. Let's grab some on the way." They made a quick detour to an ice cream kiosk, where Jason got a scoop of vanilla for himself and something called galactic swirl for Ziri. The alien kid's eyes lit up when they tasted it, and for the first time since Jason met them, Ziri smiled. As they continued toward the security office, Jason noticed a few people giving them curious looks. He didn't blame them. Seeing a human teen hanging out with a small, four-armed alien wasn't exactly a common sight. Still, he didn't pay it much attention. They were almost at the office when something strange happened. Out of nowhere, two large, intimidating figures dressed in sleek, silver armor appeared in front of them. Jason stopped abruptly, instinctively pulling Ziri closer to him. "Step aside, human," one of the armored figures said in a deep, authoritative voice. The translator in Jason's pocket processed the words instantly. "What's going on?" Jason asked, trying to stay calm. The last thing he wanted was trouble with some alien security force. "I'm just helping this kid find their guardian." The other figure, whose armor had golden accents, stepped forward and knelt down in front of Ziri. "Your Highness, we have been searching for you." Jason froze. Did they just say, "Your Highness"? Ziri's posture shifted slightly, and they let out a long, nervous breath. "I got lost. I didn't mean to." Jason blinked in confusion, still processing the situation. "Highness? The kid he had just bought ice cream for was royalty?" The armored figure stood and turned to Jason, their posture stiff with authority. "Human, you have aided the heir to the Cyrathian throne, Crown Prince Ziri. Your assistance has been noted." Jason's mind reeled. He stared down at Ziri. No, Prince Ziri, who now looked incredibly embarrassed. "Crown Prince?" Jason mumbled, feeling the weight of his casual conversation with this alien kid come crashing down on him. "Ziri, your royalty?"